All right, so as we kind of talk about violence dynamics and how adrenaline works and the cool superpowers that people get, we now need to go into the real world. So de-escalation, escape, and evasion are going to be your biggest tools in this fight, right? We want to be able to either talk our way out of it, we want to be able to run or just evade whatever situation is happening. And we're going to talk about where to go and how to get there. So for us, when we're talking most about predatory violence, we need you to go towards lights and people. And I want to really stress, we need you running towards safety, not away from danger. Those are different things. So running away from danger is just a panicked escape. Running towards safety is a response, right? They're not called first reactors, they're called first responders because they come with a plan. We also want to have a plan. So it's always great to know where the exits are, fire exits, etc. Also good to know how fast you can run and for how long. But you don't need to be Jason Bourne. Like you can be anybody in any shape, in any condition to do this. As the world gets more and more attached to their phones, the newest superpower is going to be paying attention. Just reading signs and knowing where doors are, you're going to sound like Batman because you're going to know what's going on. Like, how do you know this? We want to make sure, again, we're running towards safety. And safety in this situation for predatory violence is lights and people. As we discussed, if it's a lonely place or there's no witnesses, it's most likely predatory violence. If we take those away, the predator can't do the thing they want to do. And we also need to understand that most likely in predatory situations, the person is not going to work harder than they have to. If you've ever been fishing, when you cast your line, if your line snaps, you lose that fish. Nobody that I know has ever dove in the water after that exact fish, right? They just cast the line for a new fish. So if you are on the victim profile and then you put up a fight or you get away, the predator made the wrong choice. I didn't expect this from this person, right? And then they're going to look for an easier target because their goal is to do this again and again. So if you scratch them up, they're easily identified by the police. If you run into a crowd and they see you chasing, there's more people to tell them what they're doing. A lot of people put social cues onto this because of Hollywood, right? It's always some, like, and again, if a stalker, that's a different situation. But even a stalker's probably not going to run into a crowd after you because then they're going to be identified by the police and their job is they want to do this again. So we don't want to put emotional attachment on predatory hunting. People, when they're predators, they're just your food, right? And if you leave, the next meal's coming. We don't personally get upset and they're not going to chase you usually. And again, your reality is different than my reality, so your bad guy is going to be different. So if this isn't tracking the situation you're in, you need to use your own real world experience. I'm not going to explain to you what you should do unless we go over specific details. So running towards lights and people is having a plan to escape and learning how to move through people. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do some counter ambush work and we're going to get you running. All right, so we are going to go over what we call counter ambush. And you've done this before with Sam, but I want to go over the real specifics of this. So there is, in a 1 hour class, I cannot make you stronger, but I can make you less weak. Okay. Right? Again, it's like the running towards danger thing, right? Okay. It's semantics. But what we can do is show you how your body works and how to take full advantage of that for your size. Because unless we're going to do push-ups here for the rest of the day, there's no benefit to you trying to get instantly stronger, but we can make you less weak instantaneously. Okay? So, bipedal creatures, humans are the only ones that are lazy enough to lock their legs out, right? So our bones go, if you see other species are bipedal, let's say an ape, for example, their knees are always bent. And the reason why is they can't do this. Okay, so we're like the only ones that can. So far, if there is other species, YouTube, correct me. So with this happening, we can do what's called bone-on-bone structure. Bones don't use calories like muscles and tendons do, so they can stay a lot longer. We call this is referred to in most martial arts as structure. So we want to be able to give you the best structure you have. We want as much force as possible coming from this, going through you into the ground, so the ground and the planet supporting you, not your muscles and tendons, right? Because that's where size and strength makes a difference, right? Yeah. And that's where we're going to use Thor here because he's a very good representation of a strong human being, because he's a strong human being. Yeah. But also he has ridiculous structure, so it's frustrating. But what we're going to do is, the same thing that happens in our legs happens in our arms. But there's 2 gears. Gear 1 is bone on bone, right? So it locks into the joint. And from this structure, if I push on Thor here, if he pushes back, I can easily hold this. I'm not really putting a lot of effort in because I'm not using muscles or tendons, I'm using bone on bone. At this angle as well, your elbow also locks. So when I'm here, if I'm using just muscle and tendon, so I make a muscle and I try and hold Thor back here, if he bear hugs me, he can easily crush and I can't stop that from happening. Because I'm using muscle and tendon. He is stronger than me in every respect. If I use my bones and I attach here, when he goes to grab me and he pulls, It almost looks like I'm doing nothing. It's like a magic trick.
Oh.
Okay? So when we're doing this, yeah, it's really cool. And again, anybody can do this. If you have an elbow joint, you can do this. So you could be in any shape, any size, and this is going to work. So we're going to get you to do it.
Okay.
With Thor. So Thor's going to hug you because he likes hugging people. Okay? So the first time, obviously, I want you just to resist this muscle and bone tendon. So we got to prove it works by making it feel. So go ahead. I'm going to touch your hands. We're going to go like this, and you're just going to resist it.
Okay.
So very easy, right? He's a strong guy.
Yeah.
So now, we're going to go over 90 degrees. So this is 90. You're going to go over. I want you to point your, no, we're going to get you to point your fingers. You don't need to point your fingers, but it's easier to cue. And I want you to think like you're shooting lasers from your shoulder through your fingers.
Okay.
Okay? So as you put your structure here, you're going to be slightly over. Your forearm's going to be here, and as he pulls, you're just going to hold that, and your elbow is down. Okay?
Okay.
Let's try that. So, and I'm going to touch your arm again. Go ahead. So you're here, slightly bent, and you want like a little lower, yeah? Think of pushing through your fingers. Okay, now grab her. And he pulls. Nice! Right? Isn't that cool? Okay, so when we do our entry, that's the structure we want. So if Thor came at me with a punch and I had a weak structure, come forward at me, this is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Right? But if it comes at me with this, I have a strong structure, it stops that from